When should Jack and Swan in Florida pay off their home, retire, and convert their savings to Roth for lifetime tax-free investment growth? Jennifer in Colorado wonders whether she should take taxes into account when calculating her expenses and whether she should pay off her home to be debt-free in retirement. That's today on Your Money, Your Wealth podcast number 503. Plus, should Kevin in Scottsdale collect Social Security in 2025 or postpone and do Roth conversions over the next 2 years? Should Skipper in Texas do Roth conversions to the top of the 24% tax bracket instead of the 22? And just how closely will Big Brother watch his state of residency if Skipper buys homes in Florida and another location for his retirement? Harry Tasker in Minnesota's wife Helen says he needs to continue working. Is that a true lie? Harry asks Joe and Big Al to spitball on whether he and Helen can stay home during their go-go years. And can the Tomb Raiders afford to spend $120,000 a year in retirement? I'm executive producer Andy Last with the hosts of Your Money, Your Wealth, Joe Anderson CFP and Big Al Clopine CPA. To ask a money question or get a retirement spitball analysis of your own, click Ask Joe and Big Al on air in the episode description and send us an email or a priority voice message like this one.
Alrighty then, spitball request from Jack, 61, and Swan, 57 in Florida. We've listened to your show via podcast for over a year and checking out some of your shows on YouTube. We like the show, educational and entertaining. Okay, she drinks a sweet Moscato every now and then, but mostly water. I regularly drink whiskeys and dark rums, primarily. Arr, but why is all the rum gone? She drives a 2009 Mercedes ML, and I drive a 2014 Mercedes C300. Both have high miles. We're going to drive them until they drop. And probably she'll get a new vehicle and I'll get a used one. Okay, combined savings, tax advantage, $692K, Roth, $178K, after tax, $318K. My pension, $30K per year with no COLA. I get this at 65. Thinking of taking this with a 100% survivability for her. My income, $110 per year. Hers is $120 per year. Expenses, which does not include the $1.9K per month P&I, is about $7,000 per month. That's what, $84K per year. A home is valued at $645K. We've got an outstanding mortgage at $211K, 2.5% rate. And I love this rate. Home would be used for her long-term care. All right, so we're thinking of both retiring at the same time, which is our baseline plan, 65 and 61. We plan on doing SSA at 67 for me and 65 for her. Here are the three questions. Should we pay off the home in 4 years, or now, or not early at all? Second question, do we retire now or wait until the 65 and 61 baseline plan that we have? And of course, knowing the answer, but here it is anyway. Do we do any Roth conversions at all? Thank you. Looking forward to your response. Love the show. I said that, right?
Wow. Jack's got a lot of personality, doesn't he? I like it.
But the voice.
You know what? That kicks us off. Maybe he's a fellow podcaster with that voice and that personality. Just guessing.
He's doing the Pirates of the Caribbean thing.
I think
Why
you're
is all
right.
the rum gone?
Yeah. Well, Joe, just doing a little math here. So they've got about 1.2 million right now, which is fantastic. They're spending about 108,000, and if they retire right now, this is of course well before Social Security, it would be a 9% distribution rate. So I don't like retiring now as an anthem. Go with the baseline working another 4 years. I'm not sure if we even got Social Security figures, so we can't really talk about that. But yeah, I would definitely, I would work I'd go back to the baseline, work 4 years. I would not pay off the home mortgage at that interest rate. I love the mortgage. I love the rate. Keep it. No need to pay that off early. and Roth conversions, of course. What what do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I was so lost. I was just,
You were just caught in
I
the
mean, when he was talking
entertainment.
about why is the rum all gone, then
Yeah.
I was like, then he starts going through the numbers. But it's like at least I saw Big Al, you're taking notes, so
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was just gonna punt on this one.
Yeah. Well, he's got out of the 1.2 million, we'll call it 700,000 in tax deferred, call it almost 200,000 in Roth, and call it 300,000 in non-qualified. So, assuming he's got decent Social Security, he and his wife, they'll probably be in what is currently the 22% bracket in the future, I'm guessing. Um, and so yeah, but I wouldn't do Roth conversions until they retired. Right now, I think their income's too high. I'd wait till you retire. If in fact you do retire in 4 years, that would be the time to think about it.
Yep, totally agree. All right, let's switch gears. Let's go to Jennifer from Colorado. She goes, "Hi, Andy. Not sure if I'm spelling your name correctly. Sorry. I love the show. It's fabulous. Quick question. When you all quote people's budgets, does this assume they are including their taxes in the number? Thanks. Makes a big difference on the withdrawal rate." Depends. Sometimes people say excluding tax, and some people say including tax. So, but in most cases, when you're doing your own calculations, I would exclude tax. Just look at your, I would say besides property tax, but not federal and state tax.
Yeah, keep off federal and state tax. The reason we think that way is you have some measure of control on your income taxes, federal and state, where you don't have really much control over a lot of other stuff like property taxes, like mortgage, like, household expenses, food, transportation, and so forth. With taxes, you do have some ability to control it. Now, for some people, Joe, it's easier than others. People that have big pensions and social securities and not much savings, that they don't have much ability to save taxes because it's all ordinary income. But those that have saved outside of retirement or even inside of retirement and can consider Roth conversions into tax-free income for lower rates later, then that's where you can make a big difference.
Well, yeah, I think the biggest thing in regards to your retirement strategy is finding a way to control the taxes as best you can. And so having tax diversification is a key component of that, making sure that not all of your eggs are sitting in a basket that is going to be taxed at ordinary income rates. So if you have a pool of money that's taxed at cap gains, if you have a pool of money that's tax free, plus your tax deferred accounts that are taxed at ordinary income, then you can control the distribution on how you're pulling from those accounts that potentially could keep you in a lot lower tax bracket long term if you weren't diversified from a tax perspective. So, I think sometimes people lose sight of, they ask, well, should I do a Roth conversion? It's like, well, the main reason why we like Roth so much is because you get the the diversification from a tax perspective on your retirement income strategy. So many people, and if you've listened to the show for any amount of time, is that the bulk of their assets are sitting in that retirement account because we did what we're told. It's easy to save in a 401k. You get a nice tax deduction. You get the tax deferral of it. But for those of you that saved very well and have other fixed income sources, now you have this big pool of money sitting in a tax deferred account that's all going to be taxed at ordinary income. We hear all the time that you're going to be in a lower tax bracket in retirement, and that is true for most. Don't get me wrong. That is true. That rule of thumb works for most people because most people haven't saved a lot of money, and especially in their retirement account. So the majority of the population will be in a lower tax bracket in retirement because, Al, what's the latest statistic of, average balance, or what's the median balance of a retirement account? It's a few $100,000.
Correct. Yeah, 200, 250, something like that. So we know a lot of people are going to be in a low bracket. And that's, Joe, that's the average of people that actually have retirement accounts. There's like a quarter to a third of the people that have no savings at all. So yeah, a lot of people will be in a very low bracket, but a lot of folks that listen to this show are listening because they have saved a little bit more and they're curious about the strategies that can help them.
We got Kevin from Scottsdale, Arizona writes in. He's like, hey, I'm single, newly retired. I'm 66 years old. $3.2 billion invested in the market. got $500,000 in cash, $1 million pre-tax, 150 Roth, 150 HSA, $200,000 in an inherited IRA, and he's got dividends and interest annually of 80,000. Okay, where's the 80,000 of interest and dividends coming from?
I think, well, if you add up what he told us, it's 2 million. And he said he had 3.2. So maybe there's 1.2 million of non-qual. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll go with
No
that.
dependents. I drive a 2014 Honda Odyssey and enjoy craft beer. Should I draw Social Security in 2025 or postpone until and do Roth conversions in 2025 and 2026? Thanks. Okay. So we're a little sporadic here. So he's single. He just retired. He's 66.
Right.
3.2 million in the market. So I look at 500 plus 1 is 1.5 plus 2 is 1.7.
Yeah, it adds up to 2
It
million.
doesn't add up to 3.2.
I think he's admitted his non-qualified account. I'm guessing.
So do you think he looks at the non-qualified account as just an income versus a balance?
That's what I would guess, right? Because he gave us the income from that account, not the balance of it. And the income apparently is 80,000 in interest and dividends.
Percent distribute, or let's say a 2% dividend yield or interest rate. I mean, that's $4 million bucks.
Could be a lot. But he said he had 3.2 invested in the market, which presumably includes his pre-tax. I don't know.
Maybe 3.2 plus all this other stuff. I don't know.
Maybe.
Roth conversions. That's the question. He's got all this dough. He just retired. The math is off.
Right.
Should he do conversions? He's got $80,000 of interest in dividends, so that's in the 15% tax. Well, no, he's single. So some of that is going to be taxed at cap gains. So he's already the threshold given the standard deduction.
Yeah.
Should he do conversions? You got $1 million pre-tax. I don't know what he spends.
Yeah.
Let's say he spends $80,000 or $100,000. It might make sense to do a little conversion. He's 66.
Well,
He's got another 10 years, roughly, for RMDs to hit. So that could be $2 million. That's going to give him another $80,000 of an RMD on top of the $80,000 of interest and dividends on top of his Social Security. That could pop him up into a higher bracket.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I think at least for, well, he says 25 and 26. I would say for 2024 and 2025, because we know the tax rates will be lower then. We don't know yet about 2026. They're scheduled to go back up to higher rates, so we'll just have to see.
Yeah, he just retired, so it depends on what his income was this year. What's his tax?
That's true. That's true. Maybe his income's too high, but at any rate, I would certainly do it for 2025. What I would go up to is probably me personally, assuming that he's got all this money in non-qual, which it seems like he does. He's got the money to pay the taxes. Maybe I'd go to the top of the 22% at least, maybe even consider more. But then as far as, so we'll make that assumption. His income's too high for 2024. When you do it in 2025, 2026, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with the tax rates.
So would you, so this is the hard part for people is that, all right, should I delay Social Security? I'm at 66. I can see my Social Security check coming in. It's going to give a fixed income. Should I delay that? Well, you're going to get an 8% delayed retirement credit. So depending on what your longevity is, does it make sense to push that thing out? You might even want to push it out to age 70 and clear the slate on taxable income for the next couple of years, depending on what happens with tax brackets, and then continue to do the conversions and take your Social Security at age 70. But
yeah, I agree with you,
that's hard for people to do. Most people, I mean, that's the advice I think of most advisors, but I would say probably a very small percentage of people actually do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think when you're single, a lot of it depends upon your health and your what you think is your life expectancy. Like if it's shortened for any reason, you might take it earlier. If not, you might push it out just because then you get a much higher income rest of your life. Of course, no one knows, right? That's the hard part. But I think most people in their mid to late 60s have a sense of, am I average, above average, below average? Where am I at?
You wait until 70 there, bud?
I'm waiting until 70 myself. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Deciding when and how to take your Social Security benefits are among the most important decisions you'll make about your retirement. Download our free Social Security Handbook from the link in the episode description for more details on maximizing your monthly Social Security payments. If you're worried about outliving your savings, you're not alone. Discover how long your money, including Social Security, can sustain you in retirement with a complimentary financial blueprint courtesy of Your Money, Your Wealth, and Pure Financial Advisors. Click the financial blueprint link in the episode description and input your income and savings, investments and debt, and your expenses and goals. This tool will analyze your current cash flow, assets, and projected spending for retirement, and it'll calculate 3 scenarios to help you determine your probability of retirement success. How will future taxes and when you collect Social Security impact your spending power in retirement? This detailed report will show you, and you'll learn what you can do now to help you achieve your retirement goals. Minimize stress, maximize life, prepare for the future. Take control of your retirement. Click the financial blueprint link in the episode description to get started.
We got Jennifer, another Coloradian. Huh? Is that right?
I think that there's a chance it's the same Jennifer that asked about whether or not she should include her taxes in her budget. I think that was a pre-question for this one.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So Jennifer, she's recently retired from the military, relocated, and I'm buying a new home at the age of 48. My spouse and I make roughly $400,000 per year, of which 130 is a military retirement pension, and 82 of that is non-taxable. We currently spend around $210,000 on mandatory and fun expenses per year, including the mortgage. We have roughly $800,000 in Roth accounts and $1 million in a traditional deferred account. I contribute to my company's Roth 401k to take advantage of the company match. I contribute
$685.
$685. Company contributes $685 per month. Other investing is currently paused to build up our down payment on the new home due to the high amount of guaranteed income we keep our retirement accounts invested in the NASDAQ, S&P, and similar mutual ETFs to maximize returns. Question. For your Spitball. Our mortgage for the new home at $1.1 million is at 5.4%. Should we stop all additional investing to pay down the mortgage as fast as possible to be debt-free in retirement? I'll keep investing into the 401k to receive my company match, but all other excess income should go towards the house. I like the idea of being mortgage-free before we retire in about 10 years. I really enjoy red wine. Variety of beers and a whiskey neat, but not all at the same time. Oh. I drive a 2012 minivan. They still make minivans. Well, I suppose it's 2012. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard of a 2024 minivan.
I would have thought with 2 kids, you'd already have one.
Yeah. No, my parents had one. I grew up in a minivan.
Got it.
And 2008 Jeep Wrangler. I had a Jeep Wrangler. Yeah.
I remember that. Yep.
And don't plan to buy any new cars until our youngest daughter is old enough to drive in about 4 years, at which point she will inherit one of the 2 older cars. And if they're still running. I listen to your podcast while walking my 2 labradoodles. Labradoodle.
There you
go. Okay, well, first of all, thank you for your service. A lot of great fixed income here. $130,000, $82,000 of that is tax free. So they make $400, Big Al.
Right.
5.4% interest rate on the house.
Yep.
Accelerate paying that thing off, or what do you think?
I wouldn't. It's not a great rate compared to what they have been, say 2-3 years ago, but compared to history, it's actually not all that bad. I'd rather have them keep up savings and watch the interest rates. If they go down, then refinance later. That's what I would rather have them do, I think.
Yeah, if you want to pay it down to $1 million, I don't think you can write off anything over $1 million. So they got 1.1, so maybe $100,000 that you pay off a little bit more rapidly, just because you're not getting tax deduction on that.
Yeah, well, tax update. The new rule is $750K.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's 7.
right.
When does that start?
It already started a few years ago.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, certainly the higher parts would make more sense to pay down because you're not getting a tax break. But I
but
think
here's what we see is that you want liquidity. 5.4 is not awful. I mean, we've seen interest rates double digit. So if you're taking every last dollar and throwing it into the house, you're going to have a paid off house, but then you're not going to have any liquidity. And if all your money's in a retirement account, I don't know. I like the balance. I would continue to build up your savings, build up your brokerage account. And let's say that builds up to $1 million. Well, you can always pay off your mortgage. You could just cut a check at that point. So I like to have the optionality versus just throwing everything, with the kitchen sink there at the mortgage.
Yeah, and I will just say one more thing. If it if it feels good, go ahead and make a couple $100 extra payment per month or whatever. Just don't go all in. That's how I would think about it.
Oh, that's going to make her feel really good. A couple extra $100 a year.
No, per payment.
Oh, even better. All right.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, good luck with that. We got Andy, Joe, Big Al, Skipper here, back with a question. I haven't heard you cover much the impact of state taxes, but first, love the show. All right, thank you. Tried listening to other financial podcasts, but found them all to be very dry, preachy, and or overproduced. What is
We try to keep it underproduced here.
Yes, we want to keep this thing simple as pie. Love the conversational tone of YMYW. I'd rather listen to a 5-year-old YMYW episode than a current episode of any other financial podcast. Keep up the great work. Relevant information. Here we go. Wow. A 5-year-old YMYW. That's like an aged wine.
It just gets better, right? or so the skipper says.
Love the skipper. Overproduced. I wonder what's an overproduced financial podcast.
Too many bells and whistles, I guess.
I don't know.
Lots of flashy graphics and things.
Or maybe too many free offers or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or not so free offers.
Overproduced. Preachy.
Yeah.
Big Al, you preachy. You got the sermon.
I can be, if you want me to.
All right, let's get to the relevant information here. Okay, Skipper's likely to retire in 2 to 3 years at 61 or 62, $120,000 estimated annual spending in retirement, $60,000 annual pension, $35,000 annual Social Security at 67, and $10,000 of annual royalties. So 67, 80, 90, 105. He's spending 120. That looks pretty good so far, Skip.
Yep.
$300,000 in Roth, adding $60,000 a year to retirement, not counting conversions. He's got $500,000 in IRAs and another $425 in a brokerage account and $1.2 million in real estate. No debt. Pending inheritance of $2.7 million in an IRA in the next 2 to 10 years. Our benefactor is in their 90s. All right, let's go. Number one, my pension plus the RMDs from the inherited IRA account will far exceed our spending needs. During the 10 years of those RMDs, we will invest the excess and not touch any other investments or file for Social Security. After a decade of growth and further investing, the other accounts should have grown significantly, and I'll start drawing my Social Security benefit. So unless the market tanks, we'll be in a much higher tax bracket then than we are now. After listening to YMYW, I've been doing Roth conversions to the top of the 22% tax bracket. Should I be more aggressive with the conversions? Does your answer change if I tell you there is a 99% probability I will move to Texas?
Move out of Texas.
Oh, move out.
Yeah.
It's going to move in. The lack of state taxes is great, but it's just too damn hot here. I haven't heard you talk a lot about the impact of state taxes on conversion decisions, so please share your thoughts. Number two, more on state taxes. Upon retirement, our plan is to sell our big house and buy 2 modest houses, one in the north and one in the south. Probably state tax-free Florida, and then travel between the two based on the travel to the two based on the weather. My question is about establishing residency. My research shows that you must spend 6 months and 1 day to place to declare your permanent residence. Our children live in 3 different states. We have family overseas, and we do a fair bit of travel for hobbies in sightseeing. So I doubt we'll spend more than 5 months at either house. Can you speak about the relationship, or can you speak about establishing residency in a new state in this situation? Does Big Brother really count the days? Thanks for the spitball. Alrighty.
Okay. Once you take the first one, I'll take the second one.
It's going to get $2.7 million in an IRA here in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Should he be more aggressive
He'd
on
be
the
more aggressive than, yeah, I would convert to the 24. But if you move out of Texas, depends on where you move and what's your residency. So
right.
I guess it kind of hinges on number 2 to answer number 1 appropriately. But
Good point.
$2.7 million IRA that has to be distributed out in 10 years. I would be more worried about how are you going to distribute that out. Well, no, it's going to be based on the 90-year-old's life expectancy because he's already taking RMDs. So
Yeah. It's I always hate to do a financial plan based upon an inheritance, right?
yeah, me too.
And
But we're
he's
not
got,
doing a financial plan now. It's called a spitball.
well, if it were me, right? I'll put it that way. So he's got about 500,000 in an IRA, which doesn't require an overly aggressive conversion, but the fact that he may have 2.7 million coming puts him in a much higher bracket because of the
Right.
RMDs.
Let's say if that 500,000 or a majority of that's in a Roth that's going to compound tax free, he doesn't have to take an RMD there. Like
Correct.
he's going to have plenty of income on the distribution potentially from, I mean, he's already at 95% of his income with just his fixed income,
Yeah.
not including any of his liquid assets. So I think he could be a little bit more aggressive by converting his IRA.
Yeah. I I agree with you. I just wanted to sort of throw that out
Sure.
because chances are
Because that money could be gone with health care for the 90-year-old. He
it
could live to
could.
120,
Yeah.
according to the gentleman.
And there's right, and there's $3 left in the IRA that he gets. Got to spread that over 10 years. Yeah. So I would probably go to the 24% bracket. I mean, especially since he's in the state of Texas right now, right? I think that makes sense. As far as moving out of state, establishing new state taxes or state of residency, so there's a couple things the IRS looks at. One is the number of days you are in any particular state. And if you pass, it's called the 183-day test. If you're 183 days in one area, then that kind of indicates that's your state of residency. But in a lot of cases, that's not necessarily true. People spend some time in one state, some time in another. Maybe they travel, maybe whatever. So it depends upon facts and circumstances. But here's what I would do. If Florida is one of the states, make that your state of residency because there's no taxes there either, right? And so when you move to Florida, compared to the other place that you want to have a home in, I would probably get the nicer home in Florida to make that look like your residence. I would get a driver's license in Florida. I would register to vote in Florida. I would do your bank accounts and your brokerage accounts in the state of Florida. I would do all that stuff. And then I would also do one more thing, Joe. When I went on a trip, I would leave from Florida and I would come back to Florida, which then indicates you were a Florida resident during that whole trip. That's how I would do it. And then the other state that you move to will probably not be as cheap as Florida because Florida is free with regards to income taxes. So that's what I would probably do. But right now he's in Texas, no state tax. Why not at least crank up the conversion to the top of the 24? Because we know we have that at least for the next 2 years.
Yep. Facts and circumstances. So he's not there 183 days. If he gets audited, I mean, he's like, do you think Big Brother is going to be that detailed? Will limit your train tickets?
They, if you're faking it, yeah, they will. Like if it's pretty clear you bought this, you rented this cheap place in Florida and you got this mansion in Minnesota, right? And and it's pretty clear you're spending most of your time in Minnesota. They might ask for your grocery bills and your
Right.
utility bills and all kinds of stuff to show. They might want to ask for your phone records. Where are you making calls from? They're allowed to do that. No, they're not going to call days, but they can get a pretty good sense by looking at other type of evidence.
All right, Skipper. Good luck with that.
Ever donate to those birthday fundraisers on Facebook? Or give an old card to your local public broadcast station? Or write a check to support your favorite charity? It feels good, right? But as the end of the year approaches, those may be completely missed opportunities to save big on your taxes and give even more to the causes that matter to you. Learn 6 secrets to bigger tax savings from your nonprofit donations on Your Money, Your Wealth TV with Joe Anderson CFP and Allison Alley CFP filling in for Big Al. Watch the show and download the companion Tax Smart Charitable Giving Guide to get your strategy in place before year end. Click the links in the episode description to get started. Then share the show and the free financial resources with your friends.
Hi, Joe, Big Al, Andy. It's Harry and Helen Tasker here. Yes, from the 1994 movie True Lies. Remember that movie, Big Al?
I do. Yeah,
Little
Jamie Lee
Arnold?
Curtis. Yeah, I remember that.
Curtis? I said Arnold, and you said Jamie Lee Curtis.
That's where my mind went to.
How about Tom
And
Arnold?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
And then Tia Carrera?
Oh yeah, that's right. She was in that too.
Yeah. Man, it's 4 right off the cuff.
Look at you, huh?
When did you
Killing-
watch that movie last, Joe?
When is the last time I watched it? Oh, that's 20 years probably. 20 years.
Wow, good memory.
Steel Trap. I do have a good memory.
You
It's
do
what-
have a good, especially
Right.
for movies. It just goes in and never comes out. It's there.
Yeah. Yep. I do like a good movie there.
I do. I remember the Jamie Lee Curtis scene in the bedroom. That's why I remember it.
Oh,
You remember that?
yes, I do remember that, Big Al. I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say the helicopter, but
Well, that was fun too. Yeah,
got it.
it's a good movie.
All right. So they're writing in from Joe's home state of Minnesota. All right, don't you know? We have been listening to the show for several years and love it. Helen has started watching some of the TV episodes, and she just can't get enough. We often listen while we're driving, and often I find myself chuckling out loud. We both like how Joe and Big Al do not always agree, just like Helen and I, little smiley face. Oh, cute, Harry. But I value the insights and knowledge you share on your thought process, all of which makes the show authentic and prompts good discussion. Now to the important details. We drive older model Fords. I thought Model T is what I thought he was going to say. Escape and Taurus. Oh
Right.
my God, Ford Taurus. It's the last time you've seen a Ford Taurus. You're
That's-
right. Holy, that is older than.
It's been a couple
The movie
decades since
True
I've seen
Lies.
one. Yeah.
They stopped making them in 2019. So,
They
Oh,
stopped
really?
making a Ford Taurus in 2019.
yep.
I haven't seen one in 20 years, Joe. I can't recall.
Maybe that's why they stopped making them.
No one bought them.
Oh, but I'm hoping to upgrade to the cherished Ford F-150 in the future. All right, good luck with that. Okay, I prefer a good bourbon with a clear, large ice cube. But Helen changes her mind pretty much daily. But some of her favorites are cocktails with vodka or tequila, wine, a little beer, and we have no pets. All right. We need your help with a little bit of a spitball. I'm 58, Helen's 55. Both our companies have been downsizing, and I recently got the hammer. Helen has a high likelihood of being impacted in early 2025. Assuming Helen is laid off due to her severance, we could have our 2025 expenses covered, and in 2026, we could both tap into our retirement accounts without penalty. We're both willing to look for other positions, but really hoping your spitball says we can just stay home. All right. However, given our ages, our retirement could be closer to 40 years versus 30 years. Helen is hesitant to take this approach and feels I need to be heading back to work. She does not feel she needs to. Huh. Okay. So we need a spitball here. Here are the relevant details. We have just shy of 5 million. Oh boy. Okay. You're good. Stay
Yeah, you can
home.
do whatever you want.
You live in Minnesota. You drive a Ford Taurus.
You're not going to
You got $5
overspend.
million bucks. Stay home. All right. Okay, 401k. They got 2.3 million in a 401k. 500,000 in a Roth, 70,000 in an HSA. Stocks and bonds is 115,000, total 4.9. All right, we have no debt, and our kids are fully launched. I have long-term care insurance of 300,000 with a life insurance payout if not used, and our home is paid for with another 400,000, which we are planning to cover long-term care if needed for Helen. So now for the spending. Today we spend $130,000 annually. We are estimating this continues plus an additional 20,000 for health insurance until we hit Medicare, an additional 20 for the go-go years.
Those are your favorite, I know.
I hate it.
I actually tried to find out where that came from, and it's just always existed. I cannot find the source of the go-go, slow-go, no-go thing.
The slow-go, the no-go,
Yeah.
slow.
And everybody
slow
is
go.
just latched onto it except you guys.
Oh, I like it. I like the go-go years.
Yeah, you're in your go-go years, bro.
I'm working on it.
Oh, God. Well, maybe when I get a little older, I will be like, man, I'm in my go-go years.
I want to hear you say that.
Yeah, all right.
You just did. I've got it on tape.
You're right.
This brings our estimate annual spent of $170,000 before taxes. Since most of our funds are in pre-tax accounts, I know we'll have to pay the tax man in the spreadsheet. I'm estimating combined federal and state tax around 30%, bringing our annual need of $220. Yes, I rounded, and 30% is 5% more than what we pay now, but the hikes are coming. If you have a better guesstimate, please let me know, and I'll use it. We have the following retirement income, all in today's dollars. Helen has a pension of 24 grand. At 62, I'll take Social Security at 22,000. Helen will wait till 70, and she'll take hers at 53. All right. Can we both just stop working with the latest downsize actions expected to be taken? Do we have enough for a 40-year retirement? If we don't have enough, how would you project retirement spending needs to be reduced? We have a slush here and there, switch to cheap bourbon. Helen, to all light beer. She'll not be happy with this. I know we are 401k heavy. Is it worth doing conversions using the pre-tax money to pay for the tax since we are looking at a longer retirement? Would it be worth liquidating our stock bonds or even tapping into the Roth to pay the tax for the conversion? I.e., we could do smaller amounts to keep it within a favorable tax bracket until RMDs start. What am I missing? By the way, we have predicted, Joe will say, we can do, what is
Can do.
By the way, we have predicted, Joe will say, we can do, and Big Al will say we need to pick up some part-time work. For the record, if this happens, I bet I'll be heading back to work and Helen will be staying home. Could our predictions be correct? Thanks much. And thanks, Andy, for keeping the guys on track. Keep up the great work. Harry.
Okay.
All right. So
Well, you already said
how old is Harry?
he is 58.
55.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So he's got a 10-year bridge.
Yeah. So she may get let go next year at age 56, but have severance to last through the rest of next year, right? So it's really 2026 and beyond they're concerned about. So here's a couple numbers, Joe, and that is this: that if I just take what he gave me or what he gave us, $170,000 in spending, 170,000 in spending, and she has a pension of 24,000. So the shortfall is 146,000 without even considering Social Security. Divide that into the 5 million. It's a 3% distribution rate.
3.5.
124 divided by, or 146 divided by 5.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, I'm good with a 3% distribution rate without considering Social Security. And the fact that since they drive older cars, I know they could spend less if they need to. So I don't think they need to work. I don't think he has to have get a part-time job.
Well, you're missing taxes. So
True.
that's probably close to 4% burn rate. 58 at a 4% for the bridge of 10 years. Couple things. I know that they're not going to retire. Even if I said, both of us said, yeah, take it off, I don't think they would. I think they would continue
Probably not.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think they feel comfortable with the dollar figure that they have. He's probably run a 400 spreadsheets, and he's run different scenarios, and I bet most of them come out pretty good. But it depends on the assumptions that he's running. If he
True.
runs like a sequence of return risk type of scenario, and it's a doomsday as soon as he retires, and it's down 20% for 2 years, I mean that could blow him up quite a bit. If tax rates go sky
Yeah.
high, that could blow him up a little bit. So
I
if
I
but,
feel
but if he goes to cheap bourbon and light beer, I mean, I think they'll be all right, and not upgrade to the Ford F-150 and just keep cruising in the Taurus.
and the Taurus, yeah. I feel like with their ability to save, they have the ability to spend less. I feel like they can adjust. I don't think they necessarily have to work. Here's what maybe he should try though, or they should try, is maybe not working for a year and figure out, does that feel good, or do you feel like at age 58 or 59, you'd kind of like to get back in the game?
Yeah, I wish they had more non-qualified assets though.
Yeah, it makes the Roth conversions difficult for sure.
Right. So they're really good at saving in retirement accounts, but then from any other type of savings outside of that, there was a little bit of a struggle because most of probably the free cash flow went to the retirement account. So, but the good news is that they got 5 million. The bad news is that they have $4.5 million in retirement accounts that is all going to be taxed at ordinary income rates. So
Right.
it's a big number, but he doesn't have 4.25 million in a retirement account. You got to take 30% off of the top because of taxes, depending on what his distribution strategy is.
Yeah, true. But he still has over 3 million if you think of it that way. That's still a
Sure.
big number.
Well, that's 90,000, and he spends. Yeah, no, it's still a huge, giant number. I'm not. Don't get me wrong.
I would say so maybe we're we're saying something different than he anticipated. I would say almost anyone with $5 million that is able to watch their spending and dial it down if need be. When you save that much money, you know how to spend less. So they want to spend more because they want to do the go-go years. Great, try it. But if it feels like the money's draining too quickly, or we have a couple years of bad markets, make adjustments. If you have to go back to work, do it. But I feel like when you have that much in investments, you have the ability to make adjustments and changes depending upon
So
what
he's going to
happens.
have to live the slow go years, but his age is really the go go years. Is
No,
what
no,
you're telling him?
no. He he's doing the go-go, but he might have to get his airplane tickets on points instead of
Sure.
dollars.
Yeah, I would look at trying to figure out a diversification strategy as well. So he's not working this year, depending on the severance, depending on what their income is. If they're in the 24% tax bracket, I'd probably want to get some of that money into a Roth IRA in that 24 because that's probably going to go to 28. You're right. I don't, who knows what they'll actually be spending. But that's a giant number. The RMDs could blow them up into even higher tax brackets. So
Right.
I'm sure Harry's got a spreadsheet and he's kind of running the numbers here. But yeah, I think you're right. If he can be flexible in the spending, go for it. Retire. But he's young. I mean, it's like, what are you going to do? I don't
Right.
know. Are you going to be bored? Or is there activities? Is there still things that you want to keep your mind active and have purpose and all of that good stuff? So. But congratulations, Harry. Very good. Well, Minnesotan, right there,
Right.
land of the free, home of the Vikings. We got, let's see, Joe and Angelina Jolie. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if
That-
that's supposed to be a reference to you and Angelina Jolie.
Oh, might as well. Strawberry Plains, Tennessee. Hello, Joe, Big Al, and Andy. I've watched YMYW for the last 5 years and watched all episodes from the beginning. What is wrong with you? How many episodes have you seen, Big Al?
Uh, let's see. I told you about 3 weeks ago, I watched one. I think that's it.
Okay. I'm 63, and my wife is 57. Drinking choice is a good Hefeweizen beer. And the wife prefers a Moscato, another Moscato. What the hell is Moscato?
I believe it's a sweet wine.
It's a wine?
Is it
Sweet wine.
Sweet wine?
Yep.
That sounds right.
Moscato. When the mood hits. I'm semi-retired now with passive income from rental properties of $1,600 a month. The little lady is still working full time and covers the insurance and a few bills we have. We are completely debt free, as in owe nothing on our house, valued at $400,000. And the Nissan Pathfinder's paid off. I have $1.3 million in IRAs, $1 million in traditional, $300 in Roth. And each year I'm moving $100,000 from the traditional to the Roth. We have a brokerage account, 25 grand, along with passive income mentioned earlier. We have an emergency fund of 80,000 in savings and an HSA totaling 50 grand. The wifey makes 70. Where's this guy from? He's like, here's that little lady. And
Strawberry Plains, Tennessee.
She likes a little Moscow when she's in the mood. Come here, little lady.
Is that what you call your little lady?
Oh, Rosemary.
You can't get away with that in California.
No.
The little lady, the wife. Yeah. Have you ever
Wifey even?
Wifey, so she'd slap me.
Yeah, me too.
The wifey makes $70,000 from work and has IRAs, $50,000 in a traditional, $30,000 in a Roth, along with several CDs totaling $40,000. I plan to collect Social Security at age 70, if all goes well, which will be $4,300 a month, and we can retire early at 65, which would be $1,400 a month due to early, but possibly collect spousal benefit if higher. We would like to retire abroad, maybe Asia, to stretch out our retirement dollar a little bit further and enjoy some sightseeing. That said, we're planning on using $120,000 per year adjusted for inflation. With the income as it is now, are we doing fine? But what would you do? And what does Big Al think? Are we on track? Thanks. Tomb Raiders. Tomb Raiders. Okay.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie.
Yep.
Was there a male in that movie named Joe? I don't even know. I mean, the whole thing was about Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different Tomb Raider movies. Seen them both.
Have you?
Oh yeah.
I only remember her, to be honest.
I figured. No, they're all right. Those were ages ago too.
It's a long time ago. Yeah.
So Al, what do you say?
Well, so they've got about $1.5 million, Joe, and expenses are 120. He's got about 20 grand of rental income, so they're short about 100,000. But wifey is working. If wifey wasn't working, it doesn't look very good. They'd have about a 6.7% distribution rate. But with the wife working and getting to the point where she would trade work for Social Security. Then at retiring at age 65, then I think it probably does work, right? That's a number of years off, but I think they'd be okay as long as she continues to work, but she's going to have to. But that's what he's implying. He's saying that she can retire early at 65. So that's, I guess he's thinking that would be early for her while he is semi-retired. So yeah, I think it may work, Joe.
Well, she's 57. She's going to work until 65.
That's what he's implying, it seems. He goes, I plan to collect Social Security
Well, that's 8 years.
70.
So he's going to be 70?
Yeah. Plan to collect Social Security at 70 if all goes well, which will be $4,300 a month, and she can retire early at 65. So I think that's what he's thinking.
So 70 is the retirement date for him, 65 for her.
Yeah.
So he's going to have 35,000. He's going to have the 20,000. So that's 50, 70,000 with inflation with her.
Yeah.
It's 90,000. They're spending 120 adjusted for inflation. Yeah, I think they're sitting pretty.
I think it works.
Asia, I would wonder where the Tomb Raiders are going to go.
A good question. A lot of people like Thailand, and I've heard the cost of living's a lot cheaper there. So maybe they're
I would
thinking
imagine like Japan would be pretty expensive. Right?
I think that'd be maybe even more expensive. Would be more expensive than Tennessee, I would think.
Right. It would be more expensive than almost Southern California.
Yeah, right. Certainly Tokyo.
I hope they've visited the place that they're planning on retiring before they actually set down roots there.
Yeah, I'm going. I think I have a trip to Korea next year.
Wow.
You have a trip? Really?
I don't know how I'm going to make it. I don't know if they're going
Wait
to
a minute. Not only do you have a trip, you have a trip across the ocean to Asia, Korea. That's amazing.
I know.
In episode 500, we just revisited the fact that Joe's been to like 3 countries in his entire life. This is you're stretching your wings, literally.
Wait a minute. Are you starting your go-go years now?
No. Yeah, the countries usually you could drive to. When I lived in Minnesota, I could drive to Canada. I
Right.
live in San Diego, I could walk to.
You could walk. Well, you have to take.
Walk,
gotta-
but I could.
yeah, you have to. You drive down to the border and walk across. Yeah.
Yeah. My my wife is what is she? A quarter Korean. So
Yep.
I guess we're gonna just pack up the family and
Got it. Well, you should go to
Freak
Thailand.
out.
You should go to Thailand too.
no, I think this would be the last family trip of.
Is that right? Okay.
I don't know. I like to stay in my bubble.
I know you do.
Yeah, stay tuned. See if we actually plan this trip. So,
Yeah.
all right. I got to get out of here. We'll call it a day. Wonderful job, everyone.
Yep. It was fun.
Back from Croatia. Aaron's about to pass out.
Is he on a different
Out
time
in
zone?
Hawaii. He can't wait to get back in the ocean.
Yeah, I'm starting to sweat here. I'm getting hot. I got to go jump in the ocean.
All right, Andy. Well, yeah, we can do some more of this some other time.
Sounds good.
That's it for us. Show's called Your Money or Wealth.
Ted in Madison, Wisconsin, Barney and Betty, and Ricochet J from Colorado. Joe and Big Al Spitball for you next week on YMYW podcast episode number 504. Your Money, Your Wealth is your podcast, and this show would not be a show without you. Leave your honest reviews and ratings in Apple Podcasts, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, and tell a friend about YMYW, won't you? Your Money, Your Wealth is presented by Pure Financial Advisors. To really learn how to make the most of your money and your wealth in retirement, you need more than a spitball. Schedule a no-cost, no-obligation, comprehensive financial assessment. Click the free financial assessment link in the episode description or call 888-994-6257 to book yours. And meet with the experienced professionals on Joe and Big Al's team at Pure, either in person or online. They'll work with you to create a detailed plan that's tailored to meet your needs and your goals in retirement. Pure Financial Advisors is a registered investment advisor. This show does not intend to provide personalized investment advice through this podcast and does not represent that the securities or services discussed are suitable for any investor. As rules and regulations change, podcast content may become outdated. Investors are advised not to rely on any information contained in the podcast in the process of making a full and informed investment decision.